Okay, Jeff Indyke here again. I got a lot of things rattling around in my head. Eventually, right, what I want to try to do, I'm not saving these films. So when I make these little commentaries, I put them up on YouTube and I have to dump them into the trash. And then I have to delete them. I haven't put these right in my computer to be films. Well, first off, they're not good enough quality because I'm in a really weirdly lit place. I can't really put this on TV. Actually, if I put this on TV, people would think I was out of my mind. Well, they're not far from the truth. But anyway, this is what I want to talk about. Now, this doesn't necessarily pertain to drummers. It could pertain to anybody that's learning to play an instrument. And I guess this message would probably be for the students that are going to learn to play this for their parents, because it's really, really important. And I believe it very strongly. I hang out a lot over at Sam Ash particularly. I have a really good relationship with those guys. Ryan is a drum manager, Cody is a drum manager, Qantas is a store manager, Jeff is over in the sax player, Pete, the guy's a genius. I bought this TIAC machine and I couldn't operate it to save my life. Show me how to operate it, that's how cool those guys are. A lot of stores you go to, you buy something, they go, well, look it up in the manual, after they sell you whatever they say, they don't want to be bothered. That's what makes Pete real cool, and that's why I buy from those guys. But anyway, so I see a lot of people come into the store, and I see a lot of different quality instruments. Now I'm going to talk about drums. I'll also talk about guitars. The other instruments I don't know enough about, but I'll tell you this much. Over at another store, which is actually the Guitar Center, they have this thing. I'm not going to say the brand, because I don't want to say anything bad or right about anything. But they have this beginner kit for the kids. The thing is though, it's basically, a very low quality instrument. The head on it, isn't even really that good. The hardware on it isn't that good. It doesn't sound good. It's basically, a toy. And I see, parents coming in, to buy this as a beginner kit for a beginner, and I don't recommend it. The reason I don't recommend it is first off, it's not a good quality instrument. It doesn't sound good. It's a toy. It doesn't have a good quality sound. Now, Ludwig makes a beginner kit for kids, but it's a real quality drum kit. The hardware is Ludwig. The rims are really chrome. The heads are real, and there's a value to it, so that when the student grows out of it, he'll probably trade in and get some money back for it. It's a lot more expensive. It's considerably more expensive. It's probably about, $400, give or take. I really don't know. Whereas the beginner toy kit, which I won't mention that brand, is probably about $149, all right? And it doesn't even have a 4-ton top. And the cymbals, they sound like tin cans, they sound like pots and pans. They sound like garbage, if I may be as abrupt. I could use another word, but I don't want to curse up here. So a lot of times, when I see these parents buying this stuff, I'll say, I don't want to, cause any trouble, They'll probably throw me out of the store, saying that. But, I usually say, you really don't want to buy that. You want to buy that, Now, that's a lot more expensive. But the reason why you want to buy that is that's a good quality instrument. And if your son or daughter who's playing goes on to play with other musicians, that toy, it's not going to sound very good with other musicians. Plus, it's hard to play on. The foot pedal is terrible. It's not a good thing to learn on. So, a beginner student learning technique is going to really be hindered by a low quality instrument. So, what I suggest usually right to all these parents is buy a good quality instrument, and if it turns out, they're trying to save money because they don't know, right, that their son or daughter or whoever's on it is going to keep with it, so they don't want to spend the money. But little do they know, right, that they're hindering the progress of the student because, if you play on an inferior instrument, you're going to get inferior results as far as your performance is concerned. The heads aren't good, you're not going to get the proper rebound. Again, the cymbals, you can't do anything with them. Then they have, these inexpensive cymbals that they sell now. You can buy a whole set of cymbals for a low price. They don't sound good though. They're not good cymbals. If you're going to get cymbals, you can get them used too. In fact, Ryan could show you all these used cymbals. And they're not cheap, but they're real cymbals. And they will last a lifetime, and they sound like real cymbals. The cheap cymbals, they don't sound good. I would never use those things to record. They're inferior. So you have to really be willing to invest. If you end up not staying with it, so you can always return it back and get some money. So that's my feeling on that. Always get good quality. Same thing with drumsticks. They have like these discount drumsticks. I'm not going to say the company that makes them. They're discount sticks. You can buy them for like $2, $3, $4, $5 a pair. But again, they're garbage. They're warped. They have air inside of them. Who the hell knows what they make them out of? Sorry. So you really want to buy a quality drumstick. Sticks now are like $15 a pair. But so you get Vic Firth, you get Promark. They don't make Regal Tip anymore. Those people had a heck of a nerve going out of business on me. And there are other brands too. Mike Vetter. Yeah, he makes some real good quality sticks. So get good quality stick, and then of course good quality practice pads. But actually, with practice pads, they don't make low quality practice pads. They don't make the real feel anymore. Well, Evans took the real feel over. They're not really real feels, but they took the name over and they claim to be real feels, but they're not like the original ones that I prefer to play on. But yeah, so with practice pads, you can they don't have low quality practice pads. Most of them are pretty good. You just have to decide on what you want to get. Now let me just go over to another instrument, guitar. If you buy, I was talking to a young lady yesterday over where was it? I think it was at the Guitar Center. She was sitting there, She goes to me, wow, you're a really good drummer, And I said, yeah, thanks a lot. And that was real cool. And I said, what are you doing? She goes, well, I'm playing guitar, but I think I might want to drum. And I go, I can teach you if you'd like. But so I said to her, well, what kind of guitar are you playing on? And, she had mentioned it to me, and it was a really low quality guitar. And she said, and when I try to play it, it really hurts my fingers, and my hand to play it because it's a low quality guitar. I think it was like a $150 guitar. Now here's the thing about a $150 guitar. First off, it's made with very inexpensive electronic components, so it's not going to really sound that good through an amp. The other thing, which is most significant, is that the action on it is hard. So you can't, if you're studying the guitar, you're going to be hindered by it. You might even end up hurting your hand playing the thing. Because she said, yeah, it hurts my hand to play. I says, you got to get a good guitar. I'll leave you with this. I got a friend of mine, I had a friend of mine, Jimmy Catrone, and he's a great guitar player. One of the best guitar players I ever worked with. And I'll never forget, I asked him, to let me try his guitar. Don't ask me now, I'll drop it. I drop things, and I got on it, and I started playing some of the things I knew on guitar. I'm not a really guitar player, but I knew a couple of chords, and it felt, the action on it was so amazing. You didn't even have to press the fingers. to get the chords. I could play the D. I can play Evil Ways, by the way. I can play 25 or 6 to 4. I can play a couple of things. And I wrote a couple of compositions very early on the guitar. And so when I played on Jimmy's guitar, he told me right that at that time, and this was like a long time ago, it was $1,000 guitar. That was this must have been right about a long time ago. Now, right, it's probably around a $4,000 guitar, just to give you an idea of guitars. And I said to him, you know, this feels like a $1,000 guitar, and it sounds like a $1,000 guitar. So, you know, you really want to do the same thing with everything, right, that you play on. In other words, any instrument, right? You know, if you're buying an instrument for your kid, you don't want to be cheap, because if you're cheap, you're going to get a cheap sound, and it's not going to be effective. Probably the same thing, right, with a woodwind. Probably the same thing with a violin, with a contrabass, with a trombone, with a trumpet. Any of those instruments, you know, I see right at Sam Ash, they have like different prices. You know, some of them are right at like $900-$1,000. You know, that's the instrument that you want to play on. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, get something, and if it turns out right that, you know, the student gives it up, so you trade it in, you give it back, and you lose a couple of bucks. You can still get money back for it. But the bottom line of that is if you're playing around on an inferior instrument, you're going to get inferior results. If you're playing around on a top quality instrument, and you're practicing, of course, you're going to get good results. So, you know, to the parents, right, that are investing in their children in instruments, don't be cheap, you know. And you can get used instruments for a reasonable price. You know, go see Jeff. He's really an expert on that. That's one of the guys at Sam Ash that deals with all the woodwind instruments. Okay, I said my piece. I hope I didn't pee anybody off.